Good Packer Nation morning, everybody. It is Monday. The sun is shining outside my window, and I'm ready to talk a little Packers. We're going to do a little off-season edition of Love It or Leave It today. But as we get started, let me know who you are, where you're coming at me from. We'll do some Packer Nation roll call, especially if you're somebody new, haven't seen the show before, jumping on for the first time. Give me a holla. Let me know where you're coming at me from. We'll give you a shout out to begin the show. Who's the first one on here, I wonder, today? Let me see. I'm trying to think of who usually jumps in pretty quick. Oh, it is Nikki. We have a winner. Oh, it's Joe from Chicago. Joe is hijacking somebody's Facebook account right now. I'm just kidding. Hayden is here from Cook, Minnesota. Tim from Dubuque, Iowa. Dallas is here. Timothy, good to see you. Mike from Memphis. We are all over the map. I love it. Justin from Madison. Linda from Lake City, Minnesota. LB is here, says hello to everybody. Nicholas from California. Angie is a first-timer. Hey there, Angie. How's Seymour treating you? I hope well. Way to hold down Packer Nation. De Pere is represented. We got Louisiana on the line. Racine. And Tim Welch is here as well. Good morning. Green Bay is the best, absolutely. Cedar Rapids is on with Doug. Kevin is here from Tinley Park. We got Nikki says, my wife share Facebook. Okay, yeah, I was just kidding you. You know, honestly, I used to hijack my wife's Facebook page and just like say goofy, crazy stuff that just would never come out of her mouth. And it was a lot of fun, actually. So we got Milwaukee on board. Dan is here. Tim is here from Milwaukee as well. Milwaukee representing today. Susan from Ladysmith, British Columbia. Way over there. Are you up in the Rockies? I had a friend from Kamloops and always wanted to get that way. We got Nebraska on the line. Minneapolis is here. Peter is here as well from down in North Carolina, I believe. Daddy is here. Taylor from Fort Collins, all right. Brian from Kentucky, my goodness, we've got the entire map represented today. I'm just like staring at this. This is pretty cool, guys. We got North Dakota now on board. John, good to see you. Samuel's here from Minnesota. Christina from Illinois. Steve from Cincinnati, Ohio already. Yeah, and I guess I was right, Peter, up in North Carolina, over in North Carolina from where I'm at. Douglas is here from Fort Myers. We got Toronto, Canada on the line with Donna A. Jacob is here from San Antonio. And now Pennsylvania, Mike is here. My gosh, we are about to represent the entire United States. Happy President's Day, by the way. It's a beautiful day here. I know the north, if you're up in Wisconsin, you're enjoying some incredibly warm February weather. Josh from Greenville, South Carolina, we are covering it all. Sandy from California. Candy is here back from the UP. Chad from Chicago, holding it down in the Windy City. Good to see you, Chad. This is pretty cool, man. Yeah, Susan says waiting for 2017. And now we got some international going on. Patrick, that's a great name if you're Irish, Patrick. I mean, my goodness, you can't do much better than that, my friend. I am, I guess, about half Irish myself. It's sort of the strain that comes out of me the most. You might see that, Patrick, if you keep watching the show. All right, Zach is here from Phoenix, Arizona. Royal, all right, let's give Royal a heart right now. He says, I hate the off season, but he's in Hawaii. So now we got Hawaii on the line. But let's put up a heart. If you hate the off season, I mean, my gosh, I already can't wait for it to be over with. I want the Packers to take another swing at this thing. However, there are some exciting possibilities for the off season. We got Tony from Laredo, Texas. Mexico is here with Jose. Tim is asking a question we're going to talk about later, Connor Baldwin. Aaron is here. April is counting it down for us. Thank you, April. Just about 200 days till kickoff, guys. It's going to go fast, all right? Right? We got free agency coming up, March 9th, March 10th, whatever. We've got the combine. We've got the fact that the Packers maybe are going to be a little more active this time around. Then you've got draft talk all day long. We'll have the draft, and pretty soon we'll be rolling into another preseason before we know it, hopefully. Rick is here, says good morning. Thank you. Good morning to you, my friend. Superior, Wisconsin. My best friend is in Duluth there, buddy. So I hope the ice has... I hope the ice is off. I hope you're enjoying some beautiful weather up there in a gorgeous, gorgeous part of the country. I had a chance a couple years back to go up and see his cabin up in Twin Lakes up there. Absolutely fantastic. And Tim is making a good comment. It's not so bad. We got basketball, and I love watching basketball. I can't keep up with basketball, NBA in particular, but I watch March Madness. I can't stay away from March Madness. It's just too compelling for me. All right, we got Arizona with Scott on the line. LB Romo is going to his country club. Sam is here from Iowa. Sam, your last name, there's the last name Carr in my family as well, back on my dad's side, grandparents. We got Sarasota here. All right, guys. Well, one of the things we do during the regular season is called Love It or Leave It. It's a game where you tell me what you think. It's a rapid fire game where I throw out some ideas and you hit the heart button if you love it, and the angry face if you leave it, says you don't want it. And what I try to do is I try to hang you on the horns of a dilemma a little bit with this game. The problem during this season was this. We started out, hey, Adam, I'm doing good. I hope you're well as well. The problem during this season was when we went 4-6, there was like nothing to love. And then we go and we run the table, and it was like Packer Nation was so happy. There was like nothing we would leave. I mean, it's not like we weren't still a little concerned about the defense. Those concerns showed themselves at the end of the year, obviously. But it was just, we kind of went away from love it or leave it. But I'm going to try it again this offseason. Good morning, Benjamin. I'm doing well, Adam. I'm doing real well. It's going to be a fantastic day today. I can't wait to get out. I'm thinking about working on my motorcycle. I've got a little old 81 CB750 I'm turning into a cafe racer. So I may get out there, change the oil on that. I'm getting ready to give it a try, starting it up. But let's play Love It or Leave It. Okay, so again, how you play this game. If you haven't been in here, if you haven't been here since we played it last, we usually do it on Mondays after the game. But today it's going to be an off-season edition. Love it or leave it. If it's rapid fire, you got to get your fingers ready on that button. However, if you're driving, please don't play this game, okay? But you hit the heart button if you love it, the angry face if you leave it. Here are a few scenarios, and I have a point I want to make with this Love It or Leave It, all right? So this is the off-season edition. It's free agent. It's almost the free agent period. Here we go. Get ready. Love it or leave it, all right? The Packers sign Chandler Jones and get an edge rusher in the first round of the draft, but they lose both Micah Hyde and Nick Perry to free agency. All right, now I'm going to add to that. Hyde goes to the Lions, the Detroit Lions, and Perry goes to the Cowboys. Love it or leave it. We get Jones. We get an edge rusher first round in the draft. We lose Micah Hyde, but we lose him to the Lions. And we lose Perry to the Cowboys, who we have to meet. We got to meet the Lions twice. We got to meet the Cowboys again. I think a lot of people are showing some love for Nick Perry and Micah Hyde right now because it would take a lot of money to lure Chandler Jones away, and Arizona is already threatening to franchise tag it. Katie, hi there. You're welcome. I appreciate that, and I'm glad to see you on. We are playing Love It or Leave It, guys. This is the rapid-fire game. You hit the heart button if you love it, the angry face if you leave it. I see a lot of angry faces, but there are some hearts rolling across the field. Some people are ready to take a risk and even see these guys. One of the things that sucks about free agency is when you have to see these guys that you lost later on in the season. All right, love it or leave it. Packers sign A.J. Bouye. I know a lot of people are down for that. I am one of them. But they lose both T.J. Lang and J.C. Treader on the offensive side of the ball. And Lang goes to the Vikings. This is going to be a running theme, is Lang going to the Vikings. Packers sign A.J. Boye, but they lose both T.J. Lang and J.C. Tretter on the offensive side of the ball. I guess it goes to how you think maybe Jason Spriggs will do. Do you want to get stuck with Don Barkley? Really? We've got some leave-its on the board. I got a love it or two. I think this one's leaning toward leave it. And I can understand why that continuity of the offensive line and the fact, I think it's going to be hard for the Packers to hang on to Tretter either way, but boy, would I like to have a veteran presence and a really good shutdown cornerback back there. There's a few of them available. I know a lot in Packer Nation would like to see one of those guys become a Packer. Love it or leave it. The Packers signed Calais Campbell, but they lose, again, Nick Perry and Micah Hyde both go out the door. So we get Calais Campbell. We still got Clay Matthews. Then the Julius Peppers question has to come in, I'm sure, at that point. You know, most people thinking he is done. I tend to be one of them. I think we've gotten as much as we can out of him, so that would be a big loss. But the money that you're going to have to lay down for Calais Campbell probably takes Nick Perry off the board. And if, you know, maybe we try to sign Micah Hyde, Nick Perry goes out into free agency, tests the water, and it's too rich for our blood, and then Micah Hyde exits it as well. All right, folks. Love it. All right, I'm seeing, let's see. Oh, this is a fairly mixed one this time around. I see a lot. Apparently there's some people pretty high on Calais Campbell. I think probably because what he does to Aaron Rodgers every single time we seem to meet him always seems to have some kind of a crazy big play. All right. Okay. All right. Love it or leave it, guys. The Packers signed Stephon Gilmore, which again is another guy that would just be such a great addition, but not Jared Cook. All right. This is again a defense versus offense kind of a question. Packers signed Stephon Gilmore, but they don't sign Jared Cook. Love it or leave it. Let me see what you think about that one. I'm actually really interested in this one. Aaron Rodgers saying that Jared Cook should be a top priority free agent. However, Gilmore in the backfield would be a big help. Tammy saying, can't go with losing Hyde. Let's do some comments while you guys are rolling out. There's a ton of responses coming through. Who are we aiming for in the draft? We're not on that just today, Matthew. We will certainly get to that. Chad says, leave it on that one. And Robert has a little bit of trash talking to do on Clay Matthews. Matthew hates it. And I don't know if you're referring to the not signing Jared Cook one, but I've got another Jared Cook one for you guys, all right? The Packers don't sign. We lose Jared Cook, but we bring in Martellus Bennett. Love it or leave it. Cook's in the system. Cook's happy to be here. Bennett purported to be a better blocker, but was a little bit of a problem. That's why the Bears didn't really have any time for him eventually. He is now available. Do the Patriots sign him back? Did they get enough out of him? He helped him out while Gronk was gone. Love it or leave it. We've got some love for that one. I'm kind of surprised. I thought Jared Cook would win out handily in that one. So if you're a Jared Cook guy, put up that angry face that you want him back, not Martellus Bennett. Again, I say the Packers are one of those teams that can take a guy that maybe has some issues, some struggles in the past, and when they land in Green Bay, kind of like Bennett did with the Patriots, have no problem at all. I wouldn't expect any trouble at all. But to lose Jared Cook, all right, love it or leave it. The Packers sign Cook, but lose Micah Hyde to the Vikings. All right, so the Packers get Cook, we get him inked. But the trade-off is they lose Micah Hyde to the Vikings. Love it or leave it. I got a big old angry face right off the bat. Love it or leave it. This is a fun game. I'm liking this. All right, Packers sign Jared Cook back. Got Jared Cook back, but they lose Micah Hyde in the offing. Now, I see a lot of leave-its on this one, and I think what that's probably saying is most people in Packer Nation believe that we've got to focus and shore up our defense. We can't afford to have the exits there, and we maybe need to bring a guy or two in. And while I'm sure most people out there in Packer Nation want Green Bay to sign Jared Cook back, that the offense is definitely not the priority this offseason, excuse me. All right, well, I got one last one. This is a little convoluted. I kind of threw it together at the end. I don't even know if in the end it makes any sense, but that's okay. All right, love it or leave it. The Aaron Rodgers and Clay Matthews restructure their deal so the Packers can lure Chandler Jones away from the Cardinals. It's going to have to be a big deal, even if he even hits the market. All right, so they give Jones a huge contract, but as a result, they lose Hyde and Perry and TJ Lang. TJ Lang going to the Vikings, Hyde and Perry, I didn't put anybody down, but love it or leave it. But we get Jones in there, who is coveted by a lot in Packer Nation. I can say that much right now. Wow, this one's, whoever's got the number 6 loves that a lot. And I didn't see the name on that as it rolled by. Chad says Hyde is overrated. Nancy, Hyde and then get Desmond King from Iowa. I would not have anything against that. The thing that I struggle with a little bit, I wouldn't have anything against King regardless. But I do want to see a veteran presence at the cornerback position, and I'd love to see us get one lockdown guy and let the other young bucks develop and compete. And learn from somebody who's been there. Roger, that's who it was. Roger. Okay, good to see you, Roger. All right, well, that's love it or leave it. Okay, guys, this is awesome. All right, Adam disagrees. He says Hyde is awesome. I know a lot of you will heart that thought. I think Hyde is one of those guys that, you know, in the defensive backfield that's been decimated with injuries, you put a high premium on versatility. He's definitely versatile. And he's not one of those guys that his physicals or his skills, he's going to just play lockdown outside corner. But this guy has done just about everything there is to do. Add to that the fact he is a special team player as well. And he becomes a very valuable player for a team. So, all right. Man, there was a comment I was going to make. All right. Mel has the... Yeah, Christian McCaffrey, yeah. Well, we'll see. I am not with Mel Kiper on that. I will just say this much. I think Mel Kiper's smoking something. All right. Ronnie says, I'm assuming Micah Hyde too important. Healthy Hyde is awesome. All right, folks. Well, the big news, I guess I should use air quotes. The big news in Packer Nation. And there is something to this. It seems like the Packers are interested in Connor Barwin from the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this would probably, you know, the Eagles are at the point, and teams are just sort of waiting. We're circling the waters. Of course, nothing can be done just yet. And watching to see if the Eagles would cut Connor Barwin to save on the cap space. I think it's like $7.98 million this year, something like that. It's way too expensive for the way that he's played. The fact of the matter being, part of the problem is he's a great locker room guy. He is a community servant, and he can be a player, but he's just not fitting into the 4-3 scheme over there. Let me know, emoji me your thoughts. If the Packers were to have to give up maybe a higher draft pick, I'm not sure what he would command at this point, but if he hit the open market, he would not be out of a job for very long at all. What do you think about Barwin? Jay says, I'd love him. That guy is tough. And, you know, we can't have enough enough linebackers on a 3-4 defense. That's for sure. And we may see Julius Peppers exit. We're not sure about Nick Perry either. So, you know, there's going to be possibly gaps to fill. He would shore one up. We've got a lot of thumbs up and an angry face or two. Because remember, would have to be giving something up for that in a draft that really sort of plays into the Packers' needs this year. Good player, but nothing more than a 4th or 5th rounder, says Adams. And honestly, that's kind of where I'm at. The problem I see is there were at least, it was like the Ravens, it was the Packers, the Ravens, and I forget what other team. If this turns into some kind of a bidding war, then that draft pick, you know the Eagles are going to be pushing for a higher draft pick, and I'm not sure what I'm willing to give up in this year's draft to get Connor Barwin, a guy he's going to be a little bit of an unknown when you bring him in. Reminds me a bit of Julius Peppers, a guy that is just getting ready to get let go. And then, of course, one of the good things would be if we have to give up maybe a higher draft pick than a fourth, maybe a third, then maybe it gets pushed up to a third, something like that, and the Eagles don't get too crazy about it, then you've got to get them under contract. But I think the contract would work fairly well if the Packers can do what they do and make it very incentivized. Make sure the workout bonus is as high a percentage of that contract as possible. They might be able to get him at a reasonable price. And if the Eagles don't want him, now Connor's already said he'll take a pay cut to stay with the Eagles. So if he goes somewhere else, he's taking a pay cut no matter what. Bryce is here, says good morning. Bryce, man, you missed Love It or Leave It this morning. We had a lot of fun with that one. It was all like trade/free agent acquisition scenarios. My eyebrows are... Okay. Julie is here. Good to see you. Jay says Connor stays healthy, too. That's a good point. And how important... Of course, maybe you bring him to the Packers and he immediately cracks his femur bone in half. I don't know. There's like a curse, guys. I swear it's a curse on the Packers right now. But yes, having guys that are durable, that's one of the things. It's so sad. This is the story with TJ Lang. It's so sad because he was such an Iron Man. Like maybe you figured he wasn't quite as good a player as Josh Sitton, but he was available. I mean, he was very close to as good, if not as good. But he was available all the time. And then to see his season end the way it did, and now the Packers, you emoji me your thoughts, because I would be putting up a sad face right now. That's one thing that we know about free agency with our team so far, is that nobody's talking to TJ Lang right now. Tammy, I have awesome eyebrows. Thank you. I don't know. It must be the off season. I'm playing on a Monday. But I hope it's a little bit of fun. We're trying to inject a little humor, a little fun, a little sunshine into an off season that seems way too long. Hopefully, when free agency comes around, we'll have a little something to be excited about, guys. I am one, and we talked about this a little bit ago. Again, I'm not looking for, I just don't think it's Ted Thompson's MO to dive into the free agent frenzy in that first 24, 48 hours and try to fish somebody out of there and lure somebody out of there, because the only lures that are in the water at that point are money, money, money. It's not Ted Thompson's MO. I think, however, there are enough guys, because again, if there are enough guys, there's probably going to be one of these guys that is going to just almost like dropping down the leaderboard in the draft. They're going to just tumble a little bit. Something's going to happen. Teams are just going to sort of stay away from him. And maybe we can take a swing at one of these guys and Ted Thompson can hit one out of the park like he did with Charles Woodson. I know Jeff Hayes has gotten on here and said we need a Reggie White type free agent signing. And that would include dipping into the free agency pool during the frenzy, I think, at this point. The only thing I have is, I would love, and I wouldn't mind if they spent some money on a cornerback in particular, or a rusher, linebacker, interior. I've been high on Dontari Poe, somebody like that. But are they going to be worth all that money? I don't know if this year's free agency is quite worth that. I think the cornerbacks are a little bit stronger, but there are also more available. So maybe we can kind of keep and look, just be patient. This is what Ted Thompson does, so we expect that. I think still throw some up. Well, and okay, here's Bryce, the algorithm is making a point here, saying throw some offers out there. Make an offer. And I agree completely. Here's the deal, and I've said this in the past. I have this question in the back of my mind as to whether anyone takes Ted Thompson seriously at this point. I mean, he's able to lure in the guys who, A, have played with a team that sucked their entire... And the reason they got there is because they were good, and the team they were with had a high first-round draft pick. They have excellent physicals, and they have no team around him. That's the kind of guy he can get. The other kind is like Charles Woodson, a guy who had been injured, was playing for a team that was basically a nobody since their Super Bowl run way back. And he was able to get Charles Woodson under the radar. Nobody was talking to him hardly. Charles Woodson was texting Thompson or whoever, somebody in the bracket, and asking about what it's like to live in Green Bay, where the houses are, where the good houses are, et cetera, et cetera. He had to come to us. That is not the way we should do it. If it works that way, it's fine, but I completely agree. Dip your lure in the water. Whatever you think those guys are worth, maybe you have to up it by 10% or something to even have a shot at these guys, but throw it in there. You never know if there's not a guy in there that goes, I have been dreaming about playing for the Green Bay Packers, playing for a winner, and now I look up and here, maybe this dollar amount isn't the same as what this awful team where I'm basically going to go to finish my career with a lot of money and never have a chance to go to a Super Bowl. And who knows, maybe they take the bait. So I completely agree. I think he should be out there, and I think he should be making offers, even if they're lower than others. But he has to be realistic. Otherwise, here comes that reputation that he already has, that he's tightwad Ted. But you should be trolling the waters during that time. And I don't get the sense that he does anything at all. And again, I mentioned Aaron Nagler had a nice interview with Andrew Brandt. I always perk my ears up when Andrew Brandt is talking. And his take is, because everybody asks him this, he said, everybody asks me, when is Ted Thompson going to be more active in free agency? And he said, I always tell them, what part of Ted Thompson don't you understand? What part of Ted Thompson don't you understand? And that is very telling to me. And it worries me because it tells me that maybe we are going to be in the same boat for as long as Thompson is GM. All right. Jay is saying, this is a great point, actually. It's not like we need to be the Browns and bribe them to come here. People want to play for the Pack and A-Rod. Right, so we don't have to overspend. We don't have to go in there and I did make the way that I phrased it was to get a guy like Chandler Jones away from the Arizona Cardinals would probably cost a pretty penny at this point. But guys like to play for Aaron Rodgers. Green Bay is not the happiest landing spot for these guys. That's why one of the big things is the Packers add the offseason workout bonuses as big a percentage as they can to their contracts, and the players don't like that because they want to train in the offseason in Miami. They want to train in California. They don't like having to come back to Green Bay. That's just the plain and simple fact of the matter, which unfortunately is sad because Green Bay is gorgeous in the summer. And Lake Michigan is beautiful. But that's one of the things we run into. But people want to play for a winner. That's why we've been able to stay successful, because we continue to win. It's not easy, but we've been able to do it. All right. Any news about Eddie Lacy? Do you think he should still start? Tyron is asking any news about Eddie Lacy. The short answer is no. But I will put in my 2 cents worth, and that is I would love to have Eddie Lacy back under the right contract, the right structure of the contract, highly incentivized because of his, he's had the weight issue. He's had the injury issue. Now, I as far as starting goes, I wouldn't be surprised. If Eddie Lacy comes back, we sign him, and he comes back healthy, I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie Lacy doesn't plug right back into that starting role. But again, you look at the makeup of the Packers and what happened this year, the one thing we've said is this is the absolute in the running back situation. We cannot do what we did last year. We cannot have two guys go down and end up with nobody, having to rotate wide receivers into the backfield, as not just rotate them into the backfield like we used to do to Cobb once in a while, but to have a receiver play running back. We can't do that next year. Now, the beauty of it is Ty Montgomery is now a running back. He's not a wide receiver. He's a running back. He's going to get his number changed, etc. Hey there, Annette. So anyway, what has shaken out is, to my mind, is the starting role, again, I'm using the air quotes, of running back on the Packers team, really, I don't care who gets that name. And I would not be surprised at all if Eddie Lacy comes back and they can sign him on the right deal and he comes back healthy if he is not the starting running back. But the reason being because at the beginning of the game, I would expect more of that traditional ground and pound running back. Not because he's supposedly better than Ty Montgomery. Not because he supposedly is better than Aaron Ripkowski even. But just because when you start the game out, a lot of times that ground and pound, he's a little bit bigger back. He can run inside out. Whereas Ty Montgomery has shown he can do that too. But his forte might be more the fluid athleticism. He's still a big guy, but not quite as big. And so to my mind, and I don't know how much emphasis you're putting on the starting part of that question, but to my mind, I don't care who is starting on the roster, who's the number one running back. These guys are going to get rotated, I think. And I think Mike McCarthy, as much as we can't afford to do what we did last year and only have the couple of running backs and then try to have a revolving door of guys we're trying to plug in, we can't do that. But what McCarthy did very well was adapt, and he found himself a new running back in Ty Montgomery. And I think that he saw, listen, we can put different weapons that have different skill sets out on the field and create different matchup problems for different teams. This is the important part. Not so much the pecking order. Because remember, we had a game, and I forget, it's actually not off the top of my head. We had a game in which Aaron Ripkowski went in, and he was basically the main back. So he is a weapon too, and we know he's a big bruiser. He's a fullback. So he brings a different skill set. And to my mind, if we have an offensive backfield, and we've got an Eddie Lacy, a Ty Montgomery, and Aaron Ripkowski, and then maybe third round is the earliest I want to see a running back drawn, but maybe a running back drops to us in the third round. We've got that kind of a running back situation. We're going to be a nightmare for offenses. And really, if you look at most of this year, we weren't able to do that. A lot of times we got locked into one guy or the other. We had Ty Montgomery injured. We had, of course, Eddie Lacy and James Starks go out at the same time. Then we have this huge question mark. Ty Montgomery comes in, has a great game, 160 yards against the Chicago Bears, and then later on, his numbers decline a little bit. Ripkowski steps in. Ripkowski has a great year. Now, if we get Eddie Lacy back, we have got some combinations that I think Mike McCarthy has to be just absolutely drooling over. And Scott's making a good comment. Ty is strong and GBP dedicated. They have to now develop him. And this is the beauty. It's a great point, Scott. This is the beauty of Montgomery having an entire offseason to practice with the running backs. And remember, one of the things, all right, it's Monday, guys. Maybe I'm going, throw me up a heart or a thumbs up if you don't really get a kick out of the fact that Ty Montgomery comes out of Stanford. Packers are becoming a very Stanford-oriented team. He's a smart guy. And that's how he could pick up. Remember, Aaron Rodgers, when Ty Montgomery came into camp, Aaron Rodgers said Ty Montgomery picks up this offense as fast as anyone I have seen. Now he transitions to the running back position in the middle of the season. And look at the job he did. I can't say enough for Ty Montgomery. And again, this is a guy athletically, you've heard me say it 100 times before, I'll say it again, as one of the most fluid athletes I've seen on the field, which is a beautiful thing. And then you add to that his size and how much power he has. Then the brain comes in. Now he's watching tape. Now he's learning the nuances of the running back position. Josh says, that boy can run. I know that gets a thumbs up on that one. Out there somewhere. David says, Ty will be perfect with the Eddie style and will drive the other defenses crazy. Exactly. Well said. And Aaron, yes, Ty used to play as a running back. He always wanted to be a running back. He ended up in the wide receiver position because of the situations that he was in, all the way to the NFL. And what are the chances? What are the chances that once you get to the NFL, you convert to a running back? It is so, and this is the one thing you guys probably heard me mention, that I would ask Mike McCarthy. If I had a chance to ask him, I would say, listen, Mike, one of the things that has been, it has to have been a thorn in your flesh year after year, seemingly, is the injury situation. However, you have said that you never expect it to be easy. And I love that statement when Mike McCarthy did that, by the way. He got up there and he said, I embrace the bad times because I love the bad times because that's what makes it interesting. And that's what makes winning so sweet. And I loved it when he said that. But I would say, okay, you've said this. Let me ask you, okay, with the running back situation and the injury-ridden running back core, a revolving door of guys, Nile Davis, et cetera, et cetera. We bring in Christine Michael, finally. And maybe he has some staying power. Is there a sense in which there was some serendipity in the fallout of losing Eddie Lacy and James Starks at the same time? That you might never have discovered, even though you knew he was versatile, that you might never have discovered that Ty Montgomery is a running back. And now you're up there saying Ty Montgomery is a running back. Yes, he will change his number. Yes, he is my running back. Some good came out of that bad. It was a very difficult stretch to watch. You guys remember it. I remember it. It was a difficult stretch to watch. Every week we're wondering who's going to run the ball. But out of that has come what could be a more dangerous offensive backfield. So I think it's pretty cool. Larkin says replace Richard Rodgers. Larkin, who do you got somebody in mind? Maybe we could have Bennett and Cook. That would not be bad. And Willie is making another good. This is what, obviously, if he was a wide receiver, he's going to be such a threat out of the backfield. He adds, I mean, Mike McCarthy must be drooling because there's so much creativity that can be brought in. You can have your two backs set, have one single set back, and then split Ty out. You can do all kinds of things. Dallas, I'm pretty much in agreement with you, man. I don't think they need to waste a draft pick on a running back. Everybody thinks that running back is one of our absolute needs in the draft. I am not one of those, and I'll tell you why. There's one very specific reason why. Running backs are a dime dozen. You can find one you can find a good one coming off the waivers. You can find a good one in undrafted. And what we're hoping these guys don't have to see the field anyway. Now, the big question mark with that is, do we sign Eddie Lacy back? So we've swung all the way back, full circle to the original comment. Do you think Eddie Lacy will start for the Packers this year? And again, the starting part, again, who cares really, as long as they're used in the proper situations. I hope Eddie Lacy is back. So if we sign him back, I think we certainly don't need to reach for a running back. And so many people are like, we need a running back in the first round, and I am not for it, and people will disagree with me, so that's fine. But here's the deal, if we get our defense is where we need to focus, I think. Run back is one of those that I think you have to kind of keep some guys in the hopper, but running back to me is one of those positions that you can get from a lot of different places than the draft. One of the things that's going to end up, there's going to be a frenzy for running backs in this year's draft, and the reason is Ezekiel Elliott. That's the reason. A fantastic player. However, when you talk about the value of Ezekiel Elliott, I talked about this before. I actually heard it. I forget who was mentioning this, but it was a point well made that if the Cowboys had not, if they hadn't drafted Zeke Elliott in the first round, they still would have had, they could have Darren McFadden. Darren McFadden would have run for 1,000 yards on that team. And they could have had a defense that would have stopped. So they would have traded off some offensive points, but they could have had a much better defense. And however, and at the running back position, they still would have gotten excellent value because their offensive line is phenomenal without having to spend that first-round draft pick. Now, it was a home run in the sense, but in the whole vast configuration, that running back position is one that you can find guys, especially if you have a good line. The Packers have a good line. We can find somebody. We got Ty. Even if we lose Eddie Lacy, Kristen Michael's still in the mix. We got Aaron Ripkowski. And so I'm not saying don't draft one. I'm saying don't reach for one. And if to get a superstar running back isn't really going to overall do that much for us. Love it or leave it. The Packers pick a superstar running back or an excellent cornerback in this year's draft. Or an edge rusher in this year's draft, where the draft is stronger anyway. I would take the defense all day at this point. Somebody says, love your show. I really appreciate it. Your name just came off the screen while I was ranting and raving up here. So I apologize for that. Josh says cornerback in the first round. There you go. There you go. There's going to be a great cornerback in the first round. Thanks, Ben. All right. Well, guys, that is pretty much what I've got for the show today. Sean, how you doing? I hope you're well. And a lot of good comments. I truly appreciate all the comments. We are spooling up you can give me a thumbs up if you're down for this, because this weather starts to get like this. And I think I'm rolling out the grill. We've got a grill that we brought in. It's not a new one, but we're fixing it up for a new series we're doing on YouTube called Total Tailgating. It's through NFLTailgateParty.com. And we're going to be grilling up, doing some videos. So give me a thumbs up if you're down for little recipes, gear tips, tips and tricks. We're going to be doing a little bit of that, and I will keep you on up to date on that. We've already shot. We're doing post-production now on the first few, and frankly, just having a blast. We're actually, give me a thumbs up for this, because one of the things we're thinking of doing, NTP is a sort of general NFL tailgating site, but we are thinking of maybe having you guys jump on, and we'll go live and do a tailgating video. We'll just cook something up live on screen. We can give you a heads up on what we're going to make, the ingredient list. We could all tailgate together almost. So give me a thumbs up if that sounds like fun to you. And maybe toward the draft time, we will be able to all go live together. And maybe we can even do a poll on what recipe we want to make. And we can all just jump on. We'll do a live show and we'll all tailgate together. I think that would be a freaking blast. And I love the idea. My brother JR came up with it. He's the guy that runs the camera, by the way. And I see a ton of thumbs up coming across. So let's keep that in mind. We will continue to work on that. And maybe toward draft time, we will go ahead and have a live show. Maybe even for the first night of the draft, we can all get together on a live show and grill up something that the group has chosen through a poll. I probably have to put a poll up on GPN and on the Facebook page, and we'll get that done. All right, so we will pretty much put that on the docket. And that will do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every last one of you. Your comments are awesome. They keep me going. Guys, I know a lot of you comment that the show sort of keeps away the off-season blues for you, but believe me, it does the same for me as well. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great Monday. I hope you keep in mind that Packer free agency news might be on the horizon here very soon. We've got March Madness coming up. We're going to be playing our Fire Fan League. I'll get you more information as more information comes to me. And very soon, we will then be talking hopefully about a free agent acquisition or two. And quite shortly after that, we got the Combine, and then we got the draft. It's still going to be an exciting off season. Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you again next time. Go Pack.